Everybody, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another episode of Off the Board, which is a series that my scrappy friends and I do once a month where we work to use some of the pins that we have saved on Pinterest. And so if you aren't following me on Pinterest, I hope you will come join me over there because I have all kinds of inspiration. And before I even started the video, I fussy cut a ton of flowers, and this is from a fussy cutting 6x8 book from Minte Papers, and I love it. So I have been dying to jump in and play. So as I was watching a movie with my kids the other night, I went ahead and fussy cut a bunch of the really bright colored florals that I knew I wanted to use. And so then I'm going to go ahead and although I really liked the black paint look on this particular layout, and I may have to go back and do a black paint stripe layout like the one in the sketch, I really wanted to play with this Brutus Monroe glitter paste. And let me just tell you guys, Sandy from State Goddess has not been lying. This stuff is stinking amazing. And so I wanted to play with that instead. And I felt like it was going to go really well with the Indigo and Ivy collection. And the photo that I'm using is a 4x4 picture of me hanging out at the ballpark reading a book, kind of waiting for tournaments to start. But my nails are blue, I have jeans on, the sun is shining in just right, and I felt like the blues would be perfect with this particular picture. So then, just like in the sketch, I'm going to do some splattering. So I'm going to grab some navy color shine from Heidi Swapp, and I am also going to grab some gold color shine from Heidi Swapp, and I'm going to use both of those to create the splatters. So I have the navy going down first, which is going to sit on top of that lighter blue Morning Glory color of Glitter Glaze, which is awesome. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of the gold as well. And it's just going to kind of tie all of my embellishments and everything in together. And I really love the look of that color shine, especially on a white background. So I know that I have all these flowers that I've already fussy cut from that Minte Papers fussy cutting book, which they are the only company that I have seen create a book like that, and I am super excited about it. So those are going to go into a lot of my photo layers. And so I'm going to take my picture and go ahead and mount it onto just some white cardstock like I almost always do. And then I'm going to use the paper from the 6x6 Indigo and Ivy paper pad to create my layers behind it. And I don't necessarily want them to be even. If you look at the page that I'm using for inspiration, Anita created all these layers kind of wonky and pointed out in all different directions. Now mine are not going to be quite as wonky as hers. I'm going to keep my mats a little bit smaller because I'm using a little bit bigger photo than what she is. But I still want to kind of get that feeling to come through. So I'm not going to cut all my photo mats even. I'm going to have them kind of tucked in at different angles. And then I'm going to come back in with the embellishment pack and add some more kind of elements tucked in before I do my florals, just to kind of continue that look. So while I'm waiting for the mixed media to dry is kind of where you're seeing me do all of these photo layers and work on that photo mat. And so this is when I work with mixed media, which is not super often, and I would love to change that actually. What I tend to do is do my mixed media background elements first and then set them off, like completely off my table, because I am super impatient about drying time, and work on something else. And so what that usually means is working on the layers that are going to go behind my photo, because I can build this entire element on its own and then add it to my background page when the background is done drying. So this is where you see me adding all of these different pattern paper layers. And like I said, it's not going to be as wonky or as big as her layout is. And I love the look of hers, but that for some reason in this particular layout, I just felt like I needed to keep things a little more contained. And so I'm knowing in the back of my mind that I want to have a bunch of florals tucked in to my photo mat layers. And so I'm just adding little pieces that I feel like will work to enhance that look a little bit. So I've got that little frame down at the bottom that says, I think it says My Happy Place. And then I have this bluish, like periwinkle colored frame that is also going to get tucked in there. And those just give me really good places to build some embellishments on top of. And then I'm looking for some tags or things that I can have on the top edge of my layout, because that's where a lot of the florals are going to end up being kind of focused. I do know that I want my title to be in the same place as hers, so I am going to keep that particular element consistent along the bottom. And I am also going to create an embellishment cluster up at the top of my painted like glitter paste rose, just like she did. So I am staying pretty close to the sketch as far as the placement of everything on my layout goes. And so this is where I'm going to start throwing in a bunch of these florals. And this is one of the few times that I'm going to kind of glue as I go, just because I feel like if I put all these little tiny pieces in and don't glue things down as I go, I will never get them back to the way I want them to look again. So because I'm using so many tiny pieces, I feel like I need to get all of those kind of glued down just as I go. And I'm just continuing to build layer after layer. So you can see that I'm sticking pieces into the different layers of my project. So I'm not putting all of them behind all of the layers or on top of all the layers. I'm kind of varying the depth, so it really looks like there's a ton of dimension going on. I also want to kind of vary the colors. So these particular flowers have a lot more color than the Indigo and Ivy collection does. So I'm not really pulling florals from that particular collection. I'm using all of my florals pretty much from these bright embellishment additions. And so this layout to me is super important because I have been really making an effort this year to do a lot more reading. It is something that I really enjoy. I always set a huge goal for the number of books that I'm going to read throughout the year, and I always like inevitably don't make it to my goal, which is fine. But I'm really trying this year to make a lot bigger effort, and I often have a lot of time at the ballpark where either they're warming up for a game or they're in between games or we're waiting for something to start or finish or something like that when my kiddo's not actually on the field playing. And so I'm trying to use those little moments either to work on social media, do something with, that I have to do as far as the Secret Not Secret Kid Club goes, or I'm trying to use those moments to get a few minutes with a book and get some reading in. Now, I have these stickers from Heidi Swapp, and they have literally been in my stash, you guys, for like years and years and years. Does anybody remember these? Like, do you have these? They're these little epoxy stickers, and they're cutout shapes. So they came in a pack where there were hearts, stars, and circles. And so you saw me, I think, last week or the week before, last week maybe, create a layout using the circles. And I created this one actually before that one, which is why the circles are still on the sticker sheet if you paid attention to that little detail. Anyway, back to the layout. So I'm using the hearts this time. So all I have left now to use from the pack is the stars, and I will have stash bashed that whole pack, which is awesome because like I said, they've been in my stash for literally years and years and years. Leave me a comment and tell me if you guys have those still, if you played with those forever ago, if you even remember them, because it's an old product. All right, so now I'm going to go to my sticker sheet, and I'm going to use a few of these stickers to create the basis for the embellishment cluster up at the top. And if you look at hers from my Pinterest board up close, she also has like some tags and labels and things on the base level. And then I'm just going to build some florals out of it from there. And I'm doing the exact same thing I did around my photo cluster. So some of them are going on top, some of them are going underneath one layer, some of them are going beneath all the layers, just to create kind of a fun dimensional little cluster up there. And then I also want to have my title down here at the bottom. I am trying to add in a few more of those hearts because I am loving how this layout is coming together so far. Like, one of my favorites that I've created in a really long time, which is awesome. Do you guys ever get that where that happens? You're like, as a layout's coming together, you're like, okay, I am really liking the direction this one's going. I'm really loving how all of this is tying in together and it's working, and it makes me so happy when that happens because it really doesn't happen that often to me. Not nearly as much as you guys would think. So I'm trimming around all of these hearts so that I can take this one heart like sticker and get some of the hearts into all of my clusters. And I wanted to save this one little single heart to go down here by my title so that I have the clusters around my photo. I have some of the clusters at the top, but then I knew because my title is going down there at the bottom that I was going to want a piece of it there too. So I'm flipping through the ephemera pack, trying to decide if I want to use one of these die cut words or how I want my title to work. And just, I'm not feeling it. None of them were really working for me. And so I went ahead and went back to my stash and found these Pink Fresh Studio puffy phrases, which I absolutely love because they're soft and scripty and so pretty. And so this word joyful was just perfect. So I'm going to line that up with that bottom like row of glitter paste. And so it's going to be overlapping that as well as on my cardstock background. And I'm just going to adjust that heart a little bit to make it fit a little bit better. But I'm really loving how that is just so soft with all of those fussy cut florals. It works for me. And so I'm just checking to see if there's anything else that I want to add. I love these little phrase stickers that are on here. So I'm going to see if I can get any of those phrase stickers to kind of play in. And then I find this sticker that has an open book. And because this layout is about reading, I'm like obsessed with getting this book stuck into my layer somewhere. So I end up kind of pulling some of my florals apart so that I can get that book in there. And I am so happy that I did because I seriously love that little touch in my embellishment cluster. So sometimes like more is more, and you just have to kind of keep adding and moving things around. And if you find something extra that needs to go on there, you just make room for it. I am going to go ahead and add, like I thought about trying to get in some of these gold hearts because there is just a little touch of gold in a couple of the places as well as in that mixed media on the background. I do get this little blue phrase in up here at the top, and I'm just like puttering around with finishing touches. Like, is there anything else that needs to be added? What else needs to go on this layout? Sometimes I don't necessarily have like a super cohesive plan. I'm just kind of playing, trying to decide, hey, do I like how this looks? Is this working for me? Is this not working for me? How do I feel about the overall look that I have going on? And sometimes that means pulling the sticker off like I did right there or trying a different piece. And sometimes it means that I abandon it completely and decide that I don't need it after all. So that's going to do it for this particular layout. I am absolutely in love with these fussy cut florals from Minte Papers, as well as this glitter paste from Brutus Monroe. They are both super awesome, and I just love how this layout came together. So I hope you enjoyed watching my process as I put it all together, and I will be back to see you guys soon. Make sure you do check out everybody else playing along with the hop today. Bye, guys.